It is the summer of 1969. A grainy image flickers across television screens around the world, a ghostly figure in a white suit, descending a ladder into darkness. That's one small step for man, one giant leap for mankind. The voice of Neil Armstrong travels across 250,000 miles of space, from the moon to Earth. And yet, as his words echo around the world, something strange lingers in the transmission. A faint pause, a breath, a delay. That delay, lasting just over 1.3 seconds, was the invisible thread between two worlds, a reminder of distance, fragility, and the limits of technology in one of humanity's greatest triumphs. This is the untold story of Apollo's radio delay, the story of the silence between words, the seconds between worlds, and the science that made the impossible possible. Every message between Earth and the moon travels not through cables or air, but through the vast emptiness of space, carried by radio waves, moving at the speed of light. That speed, 299,792 kilometers per second, is astonishing, yet even it is not instant. The average distance between Earth and the moon is about 384,400 kilometers, meaning a one-way radio signal takes about 1.28 seconds to arrive. A full exchange, question and reply, carries a 2.56-second delay. It's a blink of an eye on Earth, but in the theater of spaceflight, it's an eternity. In that pause, entire lives could depend on timing, precision, and trust. When Mission Control in Houston called to the lunar surface, their words took over a second to arrive. When the astronauts replied, another second slipped away. Every conversation between Earth and the moon was a duet between planets, perfectly choreographed, but always out of sync by just a heartbeat. The challenge of maintaining that fragile connection began long before the astronauts took their first step. During the Apollo program, NASA engineers faced a monumental task: how to talk to the moon, how to send data, voice, and television signals across a gulf of space so vast it might as well have been another universe. They built a network unlike anything the world had ever seen. The Deep Space Network, or DSN, a series of giant radio antennas spread across the globe. Goldstone in California, Honeysuckle Creek in Australia, and Madrid in Spain. As the Earth turned, these stations handed the signal off from one to the next, ensuring that Mission Control was never out of touch with the astronauts. It was a global relay race of technology and timing, a symphony of precision where the slightest misalignment could mean silence. The radio delay was not a flaw, it was physics. The delay was the distance made audible, the measure of the void between Earth and its satellite. For the astronauts, the delay was more than just a technical inconvenience. It was a psychological frontier. When they spoke to Houston, the silence after their words was a void, long enough to feel the weight of distance, long enough to remember that they were truly alone. They had to trust that their words would arrive, that someone on the other end would hear, understand, and respond. During critical moments, landing maneuvers, oxygen readings, life support warnings, those 2 seconds could feel like an eternity. As Armstrong and Buzz Aldrin descended to the lunar surface in Apollo 11, alarms blared and computer systems overloaded. They were seconds from aborting the landing. In Houston, engineers scrambled to understand what was happening, but their voices, their guidance, their reassurances were trapped in the delay. For 2 long seconds, Armstrong and Aldrin were alone, suspended between life and death, while Mission Control waited in helpless silence. Then, through static and calm determination, came the words, "Houston, Tranquility Base here. The Eagle has landed." That message, delayed but intact, crossed the void like a heartbeat returning to a body. Behind every word sent from the moon was a marvel of engineering. The Apollo spacecraft carried a high-gain antenna that transmitted signals to Earth in S-band frequencies, around 2.2 gigahertz, a delicate balance between power, range, and clarity. The signal was weak. By the time it reached Earth, it was less powerful than a whisper from across a continent. It took giant parabolic dishes, up to 85 feet wide, to catch those faint waves. Once received, they were amplified, decoded, and routed through computers and telephone lines, turning invisible radio energy into sound, video, and telemetry. And yet, despite the sophistication, the laws of physics could not be escaped. Even light, moving faster than anything in the universe, still took 1.3 seconds to cross the void. The delay was the signature of reality, a constant, unwavering proof that space is not a concept, but a measurable expanse. In that delay, in those 2 seconds of silence, something poetic emerged. The astronauts spoke, and the Earth waited. The Earth spoke, and the moon listened. It became a kind of cosmic rhythm, a slow, deliberate cadence that reflected the fragility of communication across worlds. Mission Control learned to anticipate it, to time their responses, to let the silence breathe. They called it the loop, the constant flow of conversation between astronauts, flight directors, and engineers. But beneath the professionalism, there was something deeply human about it, a reminder that even at the pinnacle of technology, connection depended not only on machinery, but on patience, understanding, and trust. The radio delay was not the only one. When television signals from the moon were broadcast, they faced an even longer journey through processing and translation. The lunar module's slow-scan TV camera recorded at just 10 frames per second, incompatible with Earth's broadcast systems. Engineers at the receiving stations converted the image in real time, filming it directly off a monitor to adapt it for television. By the time those images reached the global audience, an additional delay had been added, a few seconds more of anticipation. And so, when the world watched Armstrong step onto the moon, they were witnessing not the moment itself, but the moment already past, light and sound that had traveled across space and through machines to reach human eyes and ears. Even in triumph, time lagged, reminding us that in space, nothing is instantaneous. In the years that followed, the radio delay became a symbol of both limitation and possibility. Every mission beyond Earth carries it. Mars rovers wait minutes for their commands to arrive. Spacecraft at Jupiter or Saturn must wait hours. The further we go, the longer the silence becomes. And yet, that silence is not emptiness. It is the sound of distance, the proof that we are reaching outward, that we are connecting across the vast and lonely dark. In Apollo's delay, there was something profound. The echo of human voices across 400,000 kilometers, bouncing between 2 worlds. It was the first conversation ever held between planets, slow, deliberate, fragile, and utterly extraordinary. Today, the radio delay is a reminder of how far we've come and how far we have yet to go. Modern spacecraft use digital relays, error correction systems, and high-frequency lasers to transmit data across the solar system. But the laws of physics remain unchanged. No technology can break the speed of light. As humanity prepares to return to the moon, and one day to Mars, mission planners still account for those same seconds of silence. Every future astronaut will hear that faint pause, that ghostly gap between call and response, and know what it means. That they are speaking across the cosmos. that they are not alone, but also not home. The delay is not a flaw in communication. It is the very measure of our reach.